So once you're in, you've passed the early relationship tests, and you've got sort of three or four different carriers or reinsurers that you are in conversation with. What are the key factors to consider? Like how should you be thinking about making this really important decision?
Yeah, and I like your analogy around dating. So let's see how far we can take this. Okay, so so maybe it's a similar idea, right? Where you don't want a spouse every year, you don't want to be shopping for a spouse every year, right? So it's probably similar. And I'll again, at some point this now is going to start getting weird, but let's see how much fun we can have with this. But it's the same idea, right? You could, in theory, have a new capacity provider every year, every policy year. You probably don't want that. It's going to get extremely painful from an expense perspective, from kind of all the operations perspective, from setting up everything, from the regulatory perspective, from customers themselves, because you're going to have to switch them to a new policy every time, and it's going to look different. You have to tell them, hey, your old policy is no longer valid. By the way, we're switching to this new consumer, right? The new insurer. You don't want to do any of that. So I think that's one of the biggest criteria is you want somebody that can grow with you, that can be part of your plan for many years out into the future. And just like dating and relationships, like that changes, like what you kind of need from a partner changes over time, and it'll be similar idea here. So you want somebody that philosophically feels the same way about your product, and how you can grow that, because you typically start with an MVP as an MGA, and then you want to grow in different areas. So these are people that want to be able to grow with you. Doesn't always work out. Sometimes they're a good partner for the next couple of years, and you kind of have that mutual understanding, and that's okay as long as you're kind of both there.